Today, hackers tell us what those game freaks are really into. This is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint. Everybody's got to wear clothes on CheckPoint. That's the rules.
These seem like new rules.
Yes, they were guidelines before, and now they're rules, Paul.
Beige. Graham. In August, hackers tore into a Game Freak server and acquired a massive amount of employee data, as well as game concept and development information. This past Saturday, October 12th, the data was shared to the World Wide Web, and folks, it's a doozy. While we don't get to learn much about upcoming games, for example, the Switch 2 was once codenamed Ounce. Wow. We have been offered a look behind the veil at unused creature designs, and most excitingly, lore! Game Freak, it turns out, has done extensive work writing secret backstory and world building for their games, including several myths that were considered for inclusion but ultimately were left on the cutting room floor. A solid choice from the studio since it's in their best interest to keep the game family friendly. But hey, we're not a family friendly show, right? Kids? Earmuffs. So, what kind of lore are we talking about here? Well, it turns out that Typhlosion is half human. How do we know that, you ask? Because of the legend of the Typhlosion who tricked a village girl into sleeping with him in his cave all winter and staying high on greenberries, then having his kid, and then getting turned into a Typhlosion herself after the mean kids back in the village threw Typhlosion skins on her and her kid, who I guess was half Typhlosion and only 3/4 human to begin with. Also, the girl's dad killed the Typhlosion, but she honored the promise he forced her into to sing over the fire while his heart, voice, and eyes burned. I guess if being any kid's favorite Pokemon is out, maybe Typhlosion could still get into a Legends of the Fall remake. Relationships sure are complicated. Other stories include more weird sex and control stuff with Octilleries and Slackoths. And while it's good to remember that when someone tells you their name is Game Freak, you should believe them, it's also fair to view this leaked development information with some context. Pokemon are derived in part from mythical creatures, and much of the mythology of ancient Japan can stand side by side with these sobering tales. The leak has already earned the nickname Terraleak, and while we haven't read through all of it so far, Snorlax appears to be safe.
Good news for fans of Disco Elysium. While the series itself may still be in limbo after the implosion at Zaum that led to the departure of basically everyone responsible, the spirit of the game may yet rise again from its humanist ashes. Former developers who worked on the game have announced the formation of Longdu Studio, and indeed a spiritual successor RPG that, according to a press release, is set in a world where player choices ripple between the character's psyche and environment. Players will navigate a constantly shifting landscape, shaped by both internal and external forces. While a spokesperson for Longdu confirmed to Rock Paper Shotgun that developers who worked on both Disco Elysium and its cancelled sequel are on the team, lead writer Robert Kurvitz and art director Alexander Rostov are not among them. Still, sounds promising.
It's Sonic's 30th anniversary! Big news today.
Wait, hold on. Breaking news. Good news for fans of Disco Elysium. While the series itself may still be in limbo after the implosion at Zaum that led to the departure of basically everyone responsible, the spirit of the game may yet rise again from its humanist ashes. Former developers who worked on the game have announced the formation of Dark Math Games Limited and have released a trailer for their forthcoming game XXX Night Shift, a sci-fi detective RPG and spiritual successor to Disco Elysium. Describing themselves as a breakaway group of the original development team, about 20 people at Dark Math worked on Disco Elysium, though neither lead writer Robert Kurvitz or art director Alexander Rostov are among them. Still, sounds promising.
It's Sonic's 30th anniversary. The big news today.
Wait, hold on. Breaking news. Good news for fans of Disco Elysium. While the series itself may still be in limbo after the implosion at Zaum that led to the departure of basically everyone responsible, the spirit of the game may yet rise again from its humanist ashes. Former developers who worked on the game have announced the formation of self-described art collective and RPG studio Summer Eternal, who seem like part game developer, part socialist cooperative, and have announced both the least details about their own spiritual successor to Disco Elysium, but the most named former Disco Elysium devs, specifically 2 writers, a principal writer, a senior concept artist, and a graphic designer. Lead writer Robert Kurvitz and art director Alexander Rostov are, however, not involved because they, you're going to love this, founded their own company, Red Info Limited, back in 2022 with financial backing from NetEase and have taken the genre-breaking steps of not announcing a spiritual successor to Disco Elysium. Are the people at all these various studios the single reason Disco Elysium was such a lightning-in-a-bottle success? No. But if the end result is we might get 3 decent or interesting RPGs out of this deal, they can all ride into battle under the same banner. Beach, something about Sonic?
No, I'm bored of that story now. Instead, listen, we need to talk about ass. No, Paul, not like this. This isn't a sex point. I'm pretty sure this isn't a sex point. Fine. This game is about fighting with your ass. Okay, whatever. This game is called Ketsu Battler. Ketsu being one of the several Japanese words you can say to refer to your butt, and Battler being what you become when you shove a Joy-Con into your waistband and twizzle your cheeks to victory. No, seriously, you fight by shaking your ass. It's like Ring Fit, but the ring is small and easily damaged, and you should protect it because you only get one. This 1v1 fighting game gives off great dive kick energy from the brief clip posted on Twitter, where both fighters jump and flip around the arena like a couple of Episode 2 Yodas who got curious about their lightsabers one night and soon after decided to take that secret to Force Ghost City. Not shameful to learn about your bodies, fellas. It's 2024. Love yourself. Hey, look at that! We made it after all. It's a Thanksgiving miracle.
Do you need a new mobile game to play? Of course not. You have Balatro now. But if you're looking for another one for some reason, why not try Destiny Rising? Why not? Well, probably because it's a free-to-play game from noted gacha enjoyers NetEase. According to NetEase's developer preview video, which for some reason featured Bungie employees clearly recording in their home office and not using Bungie's big fancy studio, Destiny Rising will be set in an alternate Destiny timeline, presumably one where you can collect sexy power-ups. I kid. Or do I? The reaction from the Destiny community has been decidedly mid. A few people are annoyed, some are cautiously optimistic, but most don't really seem to care, except about one thing. This Warlock Void Scythe. Players are thirsty for this weapon. There are YouTube videos about it, there are Reddit threads about it, and I'm not going to go looking, but I'm sure there are already sexy drawings of it. Will the Scythe come to the main game? Probably not. Did Bungie get a lot of money for licensing the Destiny IP? Almost certainly. Did Pete Parsons buy himself another car as a little treat? We don't know, but I have a strong assumption.
Why do you care about the Void Scythe? Don't you main Titan?
There are no classes in Destiny Rising.
What?
So it's set in an alternate timeline, relatively soon after the collapse, before the establishment of the Vanguard.
Wait, hold on. I don't care. Coming up, the Overwatch marketing team weirded out half the internet by trying to hype up an upcoming Halloween skin by posting a foot-thirsty tweet calling out a character's grippers. This bodes well for the health of the game.
Some people have asked, they're like, why don't you update the credits? At present, the credits is like a pre-rendered object, and I need to talk to Mangle Pixel about how we...
This is also not blaming Mangle Pixel for
No, this is on us.
Yeah.
We just haven't dealt with this. But yeah, we had Beej and I wrote a story each this week, and then also Kathleen wrote a story and Nelson wrote a story.
And you can try to figure out which of those are which.
Yeah, guess.
Do it in the comments. Grippies.
The website for Summer Eternal, the third of those new companies that are like, we are people who worked on Disco Elysium. So there, it's funny because the first one, Longdew, they have a logo and a very minimal website, and they're like, this is our plan for a game. Dark Math doesn't even have a logo or a website. I think, but they do have a trailer, which is kind of impressive. The third one has this website. It is all it's all red and black. They have a section that has a manifesto, and I'd like to read you a paragraph from the manifesto. The profiteer knows that by keeping your dignity low, he will keep you crawling on the treadmill of passion until he lays you off for the sake of the red number in his book. They are going so hard, and I dig it.
It's kind of good.
Yeah, apparently the plan is to be worker and player owned.
That's a little challenging. But
So if you buy the game,
you get a share.
you get a share in the company somehow.
Interesting
It's
idea.
You know what?
They can make it work.
Fascinated.
I think that it's great. The image that was posted during the story that just had manifesto written at the top, right? I'm like Cyberpunk's black on yellow apology letters. I think this is going to be a new meme for the internet as well.
Yeah.
I hope it does anyway. Also, good for Dead Math for realizing a lesson that most garage bands do not learn. That it's like you got to make some music instead of making your fucking logo first. Make the music. Somebody else will come up with a logo for you later. You can pay a professional to do it once you actually got some songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Penelope. This was
Dark math.
Dark Math. Sorry.
This was like half a year ago. Penelope was like, me and so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, we're making a band. This is the name of our band. This is what we're going to do. I'm fundraising for it. Do you have any spare change? And I was like, hold on. I was like, do that. Make some music first.
Yeah.
And she's like, but we need to. I'm like, no, make some music first, or at least talk about making music first.
Yeah.
It lasted about a week and a half.
Yeah, of course it did.
And I was like, really? Okay, what a shock.
Yep.
I was very supportive, but I want to make sure that it's like, you can't just be like, we're a band, money, please.
Yeah. That it rarely works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to get your opinion on this. Analog.
I'd love to give it.
Great. The analog 3D.
Yeah.
So I have an analog pocket.
Yes.
And it rips.
That's what I understand.
So cool.
Yeah.
It seems a lot more useful, perhaps, than this. But anyway, Analog, who make basically new hardware that plays old cartridges or old software, I suppose. But in this case, it has the cartridges. But the Analog also has like a SD card slot. So one could put ROMs on there if one so desired, he said.
Trying not to give anything away.
Yeah.
What he does in his personal life.
So $250
Yeah.
for the Analog 3D that plays N64 cartridges.
Yes.
What do you make of that?
I think it's actually a pretty cool idea. I mean, especially the 4K upscaling and everything else they say they're baking into this thing. They want to analog
4K from
360p. I don't even think you can get progressive on. I think maybe you can get progressive on N64. I can't remember, but I think that the technology's time has come, and therefore that them making a product has come as well. And I also feel like they are slowly running out of easy. That is a qualified phrase when I say easy, but easy targets for console, because it's like, I don't think you're going to see a Saturn or GameCube or Dreamcast kind of like reimagining from them in the near future. I think that there's probably a little more complexity to what went on those systems, and you're just basically then you're doing emulation that's probably more difficult to achieve. I'm not an emulation developer though. Right?
Speaking of emulation, Paul put this story on the short list and mentioned, it's like, well, hey, why doesn't the Nintendo Museum just get a bunch of analog 3Ds? 'Cause
Yes.
that was a story that came out this week that in the Nintendo Museum you can go and play old games.
Yeah.
And someone discovered by invoking Windows or so. I think they just plugged and unplugged the controller and heard like Windows notifications or something.
You could hear the USB disconnect notification when the thing came unplugged, and I listened to that video and I could not hear anything over what was going on there. But I'm like, I believe that somebody heard it. So,
but so apparently at the Nintendo Museum, the Nintendo games are being emulated.
Yeah, most likely on a Windows PC, or my thought, and this is me reaching. They're using some sort of Windows style thin client thing at the front end that are all connecting to servers in the back end, so that then if they need to change games on the fly to a thin client, they can do it over the air rather than having to do any sort of configuration on anything in the front of house. They'll control it all from the back of house. Nintendo has no hardware in the world that can do that.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, while I get that it's
funny,
and maybe feels a little sad for the Nintendo Museum to not be actually running Nintendo hardware. They're not making that hardware anymore, and that hardware was never designed to be on and played from doors open to doors closed.
Yeah, and we're discovering that from Desert Bus with like the Sega CD and the JVC XI and all that. It's like, we bust those things so hard that it's like they're on for 7 days. That laser is always on and reading, despite the fact that it doesn't have to be, because once the game's loaded into memory, the game itself is just in memory.
We took the disc out once.
Yeah, and it's like, but the fact that's always working, it's like we're burning that laser out real fast, and so we're always like trying to find other ones to make up the difference and finding different technological solutions to make it work as well. But,
So for a museum, it actually makes a lot of sense for them to be emulating.
yeah,
As silly as it sounds.
and though also at the same time, like, yeah, the idea of if they got analog 3Ds or they got analog pockets or they got analog NTs for the Nintendo stuff or whatever, that would also make sense. But I think that'd be even a worse realization to find out that it's like, oh, all of this stuff is being emulated on other people's console hardware.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that would not be a good look either.
Well,
Oh, well.
I look forward to hopefully going there one day.
Yeah, me
The
too.
Nintendo Museum.
Open next year, in fact.
That's going to do it, I think, for Checkpoint.
I like it.
Yeah. Reminder, of course, that you can support everything we do here at Loading Ready Run, patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, or by becoming a member on this YouTube channel.
And the members will come up after near the end of the video. You'll see it.
And I'm trying to think of if there's anything coming up that we need to announce. If you're a Magic player and you're going to MagicCon Vegas, like 7 of us are going to be there. And we're doing a meet and greet on Friday and another one on Sunday. And we have our Chaos Draft on Saturday, which is probably sold out already. But
Some of you guys I hear might go hang out at the Dragon Shield booth.
yep.
A lovely partner of Loading Ready Run. Thank you, Dragon Shield.
Yep. Big fan. So yeah, come and say hi in Vegas. But for now, say goodbye.
Goodbye. Did I talk to you about this wolf comic I'm reading?
No?
I'll tell you later then.
Okay.
All right.